How's it going, YouTube? This is Smooth Bassman again. I've been a huge fan of these RTIC coolers. You can see how I got 3, I got a 40, 20 hard side, and 20 soft side. I've been rocking these things for almost a year now, maybe a little over a year. Had this one first, then got the 20, then got the 40 for the kids and going to soccer games and basketball games. Really love the performance. They've never leaked, they've never gave me an issue whatsoever. They're completely awesome. And then just here recently, the competition started to move in this space. And I wanted to bring the competition into the picture here so we can do a little comparison and see if, hey, is RTIC a really good value that you should spend your money on? Or should you step up a little bit and go with a YETI? So we can pick this up at the local store today. I want to check it out and actually get my hands on it, actually do a real world test on how this thing works. This is the end of the summer here. It's supposed to be at 85 degrees the next 3 days. So it's going to be a good test right here on the back of my truck, driving around and seeing the performance. So before we get there, let's take a look at what I like about the YETI and what I like about the RTIC. Let's talk about this. So you can see this is the 18. This is advertised as a 20. So this looks a whole lot bigger than this one. So when I first saw this, I was like, wow, it is huge in comparison to this one. What they've done is RTIC is focused on more contact size with a taller height. And the YETI has gone with a much wider profile, which allows you to do some different things. So let's take a look at the quick dimensions. So in the interior, the RTIC is 10 inches high, about 11.5 inches wide, by 7 inches deep. The YETI is 8.5 inches tall, and this is right to the top of the phone, right to the top of the phone, guys, not to the lid. 14 inches wide and 8 inches deep. So the YETI dimensionally is wider and deeper, but not taller. The RTIC is much taller. So this is marketed as a 20 because you can stack 2 rows of cans on top of each other with ice vertically. This one, all flat with ice on the top. So just a different perspective on how you want to do it. From a foam standpoint, the RTIC has like a huge amount of foam on the top here. I mean, this is like, let's measure it up. This is where most of your heat loss is, right at the top. It's got like 2.25 inches foam right on the top. The YETI seems like the whole lid is foam. So let me just come up here. Let's add another 1/2 inch because I can't get there. So you only got about 1.5 inches of foam on the top. So very interesting choice of design here versus competition. This has got a lot of insulation. I know I've had this out on this truck on my motorcycle for 2 days with cooler shocks, and everything still in the cooler is really, really nice and cool. So we're gonna give that a test over the next 2 days. All right, so from an accessory standpoint, I really like the RTIC has a pocket here and a pocket on the back. I wish they would have did that. YETI, nothing. You got space for the little attachment that you can put here. It's like 27 bucks for that little thing. This is really, it's ridiculous. So I said, F that. I'm not getting that little pocket. I'm just gonna test this out. If I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't, I'll take it back to the store. Strap, both have nice straps. Go along with it. And both very similar design. The YETI's a little bit more padded than the RTIC, a lot bigger. So this might be a little bit more comfortable on you overall. I will say the RTIC, I had this strapped to my ATV on an ATV trip for 8 hours a week ago. I just pressure washed it off today. That's why it looks a little wet. And it held up real nice. I mean, I just strapped it down with these 2 straps on the side, and it's boom, right to the back. One strap over the top just to hold it down, just in case, you know, I rolled over or whatever. And it held up well, no tears, no rips. I mean, it had full cooler and no issues with that. I did get a little road rash here, you know, from it rubbing against the seat on my ATV, but It didn't wear through. It never leaked. It was awesome. Got a lot of questions about this cooler on the back of my ATV. I think this is going to be my my ATV cooler from now on, instead of having to wrap stuff up in a smaller cooler and put it in there. So it worked out really well. So here's what we're going to do over the next couple of days. I really love these cooler shocks. So if you guys haven't had these cooler shocks before, you gotta check them out. So these perform the best that I've seen of any hybrid cooling method is these cooler shocks. So premium ice packs. So these things last like 24 to 48 hours, depending on, you know, the environment that you're in. So you put this in a hard-sided cooler, it's gonna last a lot longer than on the soft side, but these are great for this. So I use 2 of these, one in the front and one in the back, and put all my stuff in the middle, and it keeps it for a day and a half, 2 days, and it's still cold. It's outstanding. It's outstanding. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna put cooler shocks in there with some drinks. None of these are being pre-chilled, so everything's ambient temperature. Out here tonight is about 80 degrees, so some of the ice is gonna melt. Trying to cool everything down, but hey, we'll see in 24 hours where everything's at. All right. So the only downside I see to the Yeti is that it is just barely big enough. See that? It's just barely big enough to put bottles in. I mean, when I flip this over, it's gonna be just on the top of that, just on the top of that. So it sticks above that about half an inch, and the top comes down to secure it, so I can fill it in there. So if you had any taller bottles in this, they're just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work at all. 2-liter bottle, you can forget about that in the Yeti. You can forget about it. It's not going anywhere. On the RTIC, however, it's a little bit better. Still not optimal, but you can lay it to the side and it'll fit all the way down in there, flat all the way down. So you can see, that. Take that cooler shock out, and you can see it. 2-bottle bottle fits real nice, but you can only put 2 in here at the most. The way the Yeti's designed, I could put 3 2-liter bottles in here, if not 4. So that's the length. Really helps out with using different size containers in this thing. So that's an advantage for the Yeti right now. With it being wider, that is really, really nice. So on to the test. So I have some cooler shocks here. So this is a little mesh bag, keeps your cooler shocks together, stops them from getting damaged as much. Comes from Cooler Shock. So there's 2 of those in there. So I'll throw that in there on the bottom, and then I have the same stuff to do it. I got a Gatorade and an iced tea, and we'll do the same thing on the RTIC. I'll stuff this back in here. That in there. Gatorade and an iced tea. Put those in there. All right. So right away you can see here, Gatorade and iced tea with the 1 cooler shock in there. We'll zip that up. And same thing over here. So let me set it up the same way so there's no difference. Just lay it down. Put 2 bottles in there, upright, and zip it up. So definitely this stripper is a little bit upper to pull, but boom, seal both up. So I'm gonna give you guys, I'm gonna come back to this. Right now it is 7:10 in the evening. I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow. We'll see how cold the drinks are. We'll measure the temperature of the drinks that are inside after they've been on my truck all day. We'll come back tomorrow as close to 7 p.m. as possible and see how they fare 24 hours later.